So Google just dropped this massive course on how to talk to AI. But here's the catch. It's 9 hours long. Yeah. So I took one for the team. I sat through the whole thing, and I'm going to break down all of the most important, the most useful, and honestly the weirdest parts for you right here, right now. Okay, let's just get into it.
You heard that right. 9 full hours. I mean, that's a whole workday. It's a flight from New York to Rome. It's watching the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's a huge time commitment, right? But buried inside are some seriously powerful techniques for getting exactly what you want out of an AI.
And that's really the whole point here. We are speed running the entire curriculum to give you the cheat codes. You're going to get the core frameworks, the advanced tricks, and the crucial warnings, all without losing an entire day of your life.
So how do you actually start talking to these things? Well, Module 1 kicks off with a basic framework, and I promise you it is not what you're expecting. Forget all the boring acronyms you've heard before. We are starting with some very memorable wildlife.
Yes, you heard that right. Tiny crabs ride enormous iguanas. This is the first and maybe the weirdest way to remember how to build a perfect basic prompt. It sounds completely bizarre, I know, but trust me, every single word here is a crucial step. It's a really clever way to force you to add some structure to what might otherwise be just a lazy, simple question.
And here's how it all breaks down. You start with the task, what you want it to do. But you don't stop there. You have to add context and references. That's the background info and the examples that guide the AI. And you see those arrows? The last part is a loop. You evaluate the result and then you iterate to make it better. The big takeaway here is that just giving the AI a task is almost never enough.
And this slide just shows the difference perfectly. The prompt on the left, suggest a gift. I mean, that's useless. But look at the right. You give it the context of a 29-year-old Naruto fan and the reference persona of an anime expert, and suddenly you go from a complete guess to the perfect gift. The tiny crab method really, really works.
Okay, but what happens when the AI gets close, but it's not quite right? You know, you get a decent email, but the tone is all wrong. Or you get a playlist, but it's kind of boring. Let's move on and see how you fix a prompt that's only like 80% of the way there.
And here we go again. Our next framework for troubleshooting is Ramen Saves Tragic Idiots. I have no idea who came up with these, but they are absolutely impossible to forget. This is your go-to method when you need to fix a mediocre response.
So how's this one work? Well, first, you revisit your original prompt. Did you maybe forget one of the tiny crab steps? Next, split up your instructions. Don't throw a wall of text at the AI. Use simple, clear sentences. Try a different phrase if one isn't working. But honestly, the most powerful step here is I. Introduce constraints.
This example really says it all. Road trip playlist is way too vague. But adding that constraint, only songs about heartbreak specific to the Midwest, that forces the AI to be creative and super specific. Constraints are your best friend for turning generic trash into a perfect result.
Okay, so now that we know how to write and refine prompts, we need to talk about the biggest danger of using these tools. This is something the course really hammered home. Large language models can, and absolutely will, lie to you.
All right, let's do a quick test. Just think for a second how many R's are in the word strawberry. You probably know the answer instantly, right? But for an AI, this super simple question can reveal a huge, huge flaw.
An AI might confidently tell you there are 2 R's. And why? Well, because it's just predicting the next most likely word, it's not actually counting letters. It's completely wrong, but it delivers that wrong answer with the exact same certainty as a right one. This is called a hallucination, and it's why you must always have a human in the loop to check the AI's work.
And this risk of hallucination gets even more important as AI goes multimodal. Now, that's just a fancy word for using more than just text. You can give an AI images, video, audio. You could show it a picture of what's in your fridge and ask for dinner ideas. But while the capabilities are getting crazier, the core rules we've learned still apply. You need context, you need constraints, and you absolutely need to watch out for those confident-sounding mistakes.
All right, let's move on to the final, and frankly, the most powerful techniques from the whole course. This is where we go way beyond simple questions and answers and start using AI for complex reasoning, and even for building entire simulations.
The first advanced technique is called chain of thought, and it's incredibly simple but so effective. You just add the phrase, explain your reasoning step by step to your prompt. It's kind of like asking a math student to show their work. It forces a more logical process, and it dramatically reduces errors.
So if chain of thought is like showing your work,
Tree of thought is like getting a whole team to do it for you. You're basically telling the AI to simulate multiple experts who debate a problem internally. So for example, you could ask it to have 3 different designers brainstorm ideas, then have them critique each other's work and choose the best one. The AI runs this whole debate in the background, and it gives you a much stronger, well-thought-out final answer.
And this all builds to the ultimate technique, creating AI agents. This is where you program the AI with a really specific persona and context to run a full simulation. You can use it to practice for all kinds of real-life scenarios.
For example, you can tell the AI to act as a hiring manager for a job you want. You start the conversation, and it will actually role-play with you, creating the safe environment to practice your interview skills. But what happens when you want the simulation to stop?
The course literally suggests using jazz hands as a safe word. No, I am not making this up. If your AI simulation gets too intense or just goes off the rails, you just type jazz hands to break character and stop the roleplay. It is easily the most memorable thing from all 9 hours.
So there you have it, your new AI toolkit. Start your prompts with tiny crabs. Refine them with ramen saves tragic idiots. Always be on the lookout for those hallucinations. And if you ever get stuck in an AI simulation, you now have a safe word, jazz hands.
We just blew through a 9-hour course in just a few minutes, from the basic frameworks all the way to advanced simulations. So the only question left is, now that you have the keys, what are you going to build? What problem are you going to solve? The possibilities are pretty much endless.